All right. Hello, uh, gamers. Welcome back to another video. As you can see, I'm doing a different type of video today. I am making a tier list of all the Gears 5 Horde classes. Um, I just wanted to kind of do this since Gears of War E-Day was announced not too long ago, and I've been wanting to make a tier list for quite some time, but just never got around to doing it. So why not now? I am very excited for Gears of War E-Day to come around whenever it does. And yeah. Oh, and another reason why I'm making this video is kind of like a little quick shout out. You'll probably never watch this video, but a quick shout out to Hollow Strife. I absolutely love watching his Horde classes videos. There were kind of like tutorials and stuff to teach you everything you need to know about the classes, and they were so much fun to watch. But yeah, this tier list is going to be going off of how powerful each of these classes are in 50 round master horde mode. I won't be going off any of the other game modes. I'll just be focusing on that one game mode and that one difficulty, if you will. Alright, starting off pretty strong, we're moving Demolition to the S tier. The Demolition class can put out a lot, and I mean a lot, of damage at once. A lot of the cards that it has, like its bleed card and confirm kill, and especially custom boom shot, the Demolition class can just deal so much damage in such a quick amount of time. And you might be struggling for ammo at like the first few rounds of horde mode, but once you get a weapons locker and stuff and get 4 boom shots, you will always be hitting the most kills and the most damage at the end of the game, unless there's some other strong class, which we'll get to in a little while. But most of the time, you're going to be dealing the most damage by far out of any other class in the game, because I mean, there's no enemy in the game who's like resistant to boom shots or the lancer grenade launcher or stuff like that. um so yeah, we'll be putting that class right there. I will admit, the class doesn't have much survivability on its own. You can get taken out pretty easily, but if you're able to just kill things before they can kill you, then you've got like no issue whatsoever, you know. And as long as you have like a solid base or something for the 50 rounds, then you're gonna be pretty good. All right, next up is Infiltrator. Infiltrator. Oh man, I absolutely love this class. This is like one of my most favorite classes. I want to put this in S tier because it's really good. It's really fun and good if you know what you're doing. But I'm gonna put it in an A tier. I feel like this class can deal some pretty good damage up close. But that's the thing though. You need to get up close and practically in the enemy's spawn points to really make this class shine. I mean, you can also play a more safer build and kind of hang back and stuff, but I would say um I like rushing the enemy's spawn points and stuff and just having a whole bunch of stim on at once and just running around shotgunning everyone. It's a very fun playstyle and stuff like that. Um, if there was, I would say the only thing that can take this class to S tier is if the cloak ability, if you didn't have to have a card to increase its cloak time. If that was just a base kit infiltrator, I feel like this class would be into S tier. But since it doesn't have that and you need a card to be able to do that, it's gonna go into A tier. Alright, the Marksman. Whoo, man. All these classes, or almost all these classes in the Assault group are pretty good. But the Marksman, ooh, ooh. Ah man, this is a hard choice. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put S tier. I'm gonna put S tier. The Marksman has some very good damage, especially if you're a very good shot and you can hit those little juvie heads like it's nothing. I still can't do that, and I've been playing this game for a really long time. A little too long, if you guess me, but um, yeah, the Marksman has a lot of good damage with the right cards. Um, and I guess like I'll display what cards I usually use for each class as I go along and talk about them. That way it's easier for everyone to see the builds that I run to help better understand where I'm putting the classes in the tier list. But getting back to the Marksman, um, Critical Parade. Critical Parade, I think this was called, the one that extends your ultimate ability if you get headshots. That is a really good card for just wiping out entire waves of enemies. Especially if you have a veteran on your team. Certain combos like the Demo and Tactician combo and the Marksman and Veteran combo can take the assault classes to a whole nother level. Like, it'd be so brutal. It'd be so disgusting. The amount of damage you can do in just seconds. But if you don't have that combo on, the Marksman class can still be a pretty good class to run. If you're not the best at sniping, you might want to do the veteran class. But if you're really good at like just getting a lot of headshots in just a few seconds, then the Marksman class is really good. In terms of damage and I guess survivability, I wouldn't say the Marksman class is above the Demolition class, but it's very close to being a really good class. Or, excuse me, it's being better than the Demolition class. Alright, Nomad. There's usually two separate builds I run on Nomad. It's either the long range build or the execution build. I feel like the long range build has more survivability to it since you're staying farther back. But the execution build is pretty fun to use. But in terms of where I would rank this class, I would say B tier. I think I want to put it A, but I would say B tier. When it comes to applying fear onto enemies and just kind of keeping the enemies back, the Nomad is pretty good at doing that. Well, obviously there's no other class that can put fear onto enemies. But anyways, the Nomad class, just like the Demolitions class if you're playing the long range build, once you get like a locker, like a level 4 best locker and stuff, you're pretty good to go. And you can like lock down in a section of the map without having anyone else to come and help you. Now, I guess maybe from time to time you might get like a motion sign or a boom shot sign that gets a really good hit on you. But other than that, though, you're pretty set once you get your stuff going in the Nomad class. But I feel like the Nomad, it does a lot of single target damage. Same goes for the Infiltrator, but the Infiltrator can deal with some bosses by really getting that bleed damage off. But the Nomad, though, it does have a bleeding card, but you have to have stim for it, and most of the time in Master Horde, most enemies just knock that stim off you in like 1 or 2 shots, and then it's just gone. You don't have that bleed damage anymore. So that's why I'm kind of putting it in B tier. If it had a better way of dealing with bosses, like if it could make all of the bosses in the game become fearful of you, then I think I would put it in A tier, but it's going to stay in B tier. Alright, Blademaster. Whew. You know, when I first started playing this game, when I first started getting into the Blademaster, I didn't really like this class that much. I thought it was a pretty meh class. But after like playing around with the Blademaster for a good while. I would say it's ooh on Blood Drive you can run. I would say S tier. It's right behind the Marksman class. The Blademaster class is very similar to the Infiltrator class, where you get close to your enemies to deal damage. But I would say the Blademaster class has a bit more survivability if you know what you're doing. The way I play Blademaster, especially on a map like Blood Drive, which is a very good map to test the strength of any class, I would say, is I have a little routine where I start in the far hallway. I'll show it in the footage or whatever that I'm running in the background. The far hallway part of the map, I start there, and then I run ahead as soon as the wave starts, and I activate my powers, and I just kind of fight my way through the enemy's spawn points until I get to the other side of the map near the stairs. And then once that power is done, I kind of hit things with my breaker maze, and then I kind of run off and try not to get boom shot at by Scion and get killed instantly. So, and the Blademaster has a pretty good way of dealing with bosses too. With their bleed damage and stuff. You just gotta be careful not to get grabbed by like a carrier or a matriarch. You can't even do damage to the matriarch by just knifing it. You have to have a breaking mace, the ground pound or whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I don't think I'll move it. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it right there. Alright, veteran class, I think is just a very strong and reliable class. The veteran class is like it's like a simple go-to class, you know? The veteran class is a very simple class. You just grab the Lancer or Retro Lancer or even the long shot, and you just kill enemies with your guns. There's not much else to it, but it's a very good class. It can dish out some pretty good damage too, especially when paired with a Marksman, like I was talking about earlier. The veteran can't really do much in terms of bosses, like in terms of the carrier or Matriarch can do some pretty good damage. The flock even. If the boss doesn't have a constant weak spot, then the veteran kind of lags in this area. But other than that though, it's a fairly effective and decent class when it comes to killing. The veteran class is just a pretty simple and solid class that you can go with whenever you need to do simple things in the horde mode. Yeah.
What?
Moving on. Gunner. The gunner. I would say the gunner is it's like at the very bottom. Very, very, very bottom. Like if there were more classes here, it'll be at the very bottom of A tier. The gunner can deal some pretty good damage with both builds, the torque gold build and the original tri-shot or multra build. But it's not. It can definitely lock down one area of the map while kind of not requiring as much help as other classes might need. But I wouldn't say it is like the best class for taking out bosses either. If you have like the torque bow equipped, or even if you're using like the cryo cannon for whatever reason, you can constantly stun or freeze the bosses so they can't get anywhere, so you can let your teammates kill the boss. But other than that though, I mean, the reflecting damage is pretty good with the bleed damage and stuff, but I feel like the gunner, it's a very simple class, but I feel like it could just have a bit more power to it. Alright. Pilot. Oh man, do I love the pilot class. I would say The pilot class is, hmm, I would say the pilot class is at the top of A tier. The pilot class is a very good class. It can take a lot of hits, grab the attention of a lot of enemies, and kind of lock down areas fairly well. Especially if you have the hammer card on that gives you like 80% extra damage to the drop shot and gives you like 4 seconds of stun. That is a very good card for the pilot. And I I don't know how I didn't know this, but I recently found out that healing explosives also does the same thing as healing munitions. And I've been playing this game for way too long, and I don't know how I didn't know that, but now I do. So the pilot class is a very good class, especially with bleeding mulcher and the salvo equipped onto it. And cold finish is a very good card. Being able to freeze any enemy in the game when you get to like 30% or less health, that is a very, very good card to have. It can help you get Wakatsus, Matriarchs, Carriers, Snatchers, just any enemy in the game that you can think of. Because when you freeze an enemy, anyone who shoots at it deals extra damage to it. So, but yeah, the pilot class is very good. Oh yeah, I also found out that you can repair the ammo in the Silverback, which, I mean, I know it has an ammo bar and stuff, but I thought that was just like for show and for looks and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie. But apparently you can do that. You can refill the salvo ammo and the mulcher ammo, which is pretty good actually. If you get your Silverback to last for more than one round. Alright, Brawler class. The Brawler class is such a fun class when it comes to the tackle build or the long range build. But I gotta say it's B tier. There are times where it can be better. I've recently been using their burn boost card with torch tackle and been getting some pretty good use out of it using the claw. But if you're going like with your standard play with fire build, you usually would run like a Lancer and maybe a Scorcher with the Scorcher Mastery card as well, and you just wouldn't deal that much damage. Like when you're using just a Lancer and a Scorcher, and maybe have on like Glow and Slow as well, the Brawler class like kind of turns into a support class, and it'll like kick it down to C. But if you have on Burn Boost and you know what you're doing, then I would say it is a fairly alright class. And the Scorcher isn't half bad when it comes to dealing with bosses and stuff. It's pretty good against the Matriarch, Carrier, can be fairly decent against Wardens and Snatchers and stuff like that. So yeah, when it comes to the torch tackling build, it's very similar to the Blademaster, especially on Blood Drive, where I find my routine, find my route, and I just activate my ultimate ability and just plow through as many enemies as I can, and eventually run away, maybe pop a smoke grenade, and try not to get killed at the end of it. So there's that. Anchor class. I would say Anchor class is Anchor class, is it better than the Infiltrator? It's better than these two classes, I'm gonna say, in terms of survivability and just how well it can hold on its own. I'm gonna say it's slightly better than the Infiltrator class, but just by a slight hair amount. I say that because at the very start of Horde and stuff, of a Horde match, the Anchor class can do fairly well on its own. Like, it's just one of those classes where you just need to put like 3 to 5 points into your ammo regeneration, and then just put the rest of the points to the Fabricator for the mechanic or the Robotics Expert, or I hope not the Architect, to use.
What the hell did you just say?
Because the Architect is This is. We'll get to this class. We'll get to it. Don't you? Anyways, yeah, the Anchor can hold its own in on a lot of different maps and stuff like that. I wouldn't say it can deal with like the main, like if the map is split up into two different sections where enemies are coming from one way and they're also coming from this other way. I feel like the Anchor can tackle the lesser area of things. I don't think that makes sense, but I'm going to hope it makes sense. Okay. Its bleed with the Botok is pretty good. The shield is honestly really nice with the stem card as well. And yeah, it's just all around a good class. Good damage, very good survivability. Oops. You don't need every single perk in your roster, if that makes sense. Some of the words I be saying don't be making sense. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Anyways, moving on to the support classes. Mechanic. Mechanic on its own, it's not you might as well just play classic Horde. I'm not gonna lie. If you're just the only person on your team with a mechanic class, like if you're the only person in the game, if it's just you versus the Horde, you're not gonna last long. I'm not gonna lie to you. But if you have a squad, like most Horde matches, I would say mechanic is a very good class. I wouldn't say it's strong and okay. I would say it is right there. It goes right there. The mechanic class is the class, your go-to class to build your base. The Robotics Expert it comes second into building your base. Architect, don't even bother. I'm not gonna lie to you. But the mechanic class, it can provide you with very good and cheap fortifications while also providing them with a lot of health at the same time. And just overall, the turret that the mechanic has also dishes out some decent damage to like some foot soldiers and stuff, to like cyclopses or elite drones, snipers, grenadiers, whatever you can think of. And yeah, and the that one card that gives you stim while you repair stuff is a very good card. It's one of the best cards, I would say, when it comes to keeping you alive. It is just a really good card, unless you're getting like attacked by a mulcher and a boom shotter, then you're not gonna survive that, buddy. I'm sorry to break it to you. You're done. You might be cooked in that situation. But other than that though, mechanics is a very good class. Robotics Expert, the mechanic's little brother. I would say it goes right there. Well, no, since it's a mechanic class, I would say it goes right there. If the Robotics Expert is the only mechanic on your team, then it can still build a pretty good base. And keep the barriers healthy with its sniper card or whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called. Healing fortifications or something like that. It's a fairly decent class when it comes to base building and stuff like that. The robot that comes with the Robotics Expert is a fairly decent decoy, I would say. Slightly better than the Architect. But we'll get to this one. Don't worry guys. We'll get to the Architect class. The robot can dish out some pretty decent damage, I would say. Especially if you have the Bloody DR1 card on. I don't really use that card that much. I just kind of use the other bleed card that the Robotics Expert has. But yeah. On a lot of maps, you can usually snipe enemies fairly well and repair your barriers and stuff like that. and never had to worry about going up close and repairing your barriers like the mechanic might have to do from time to time. So yeah. All right, Jack. Jack is honestly he'll go right here. Jack is a pretty good class. Um, Jack, when it comes to the forge and stuff like that, you'll have plenty, and I mean plenty of money by the end of the game if you get the mechanic or something or the Robotics Expert to build Jack a forge. Once you start smelting all those guns and stuff like that, it's just, you get a lot of energy off of it. When it comes to Jack's other capabilities though, he can be pretty useful when it comes to picking people off the ground, especially when they're kind of out there, in the enemy's spawn points, stuff like that. So like if you get down with like the Infiltrator or the Brawler or the Blademaster, Jack might be able to come and save you in time before you get your head smashed into the ground by a dang juvie or something like that. So, and when it comes to hijacking, enemies, Jack is also pretty good at doing that. Well, yeah, he's the only class that can do that. But anyways, especially when he has on his bleed card as well. You can deal, if you get a hold of a mulcher scion or something like that, you can deal a lot of good damage with that mulcher. It doesn't last long, but it lasts just enough for you to deal some pretty good damage. But again, once you build that force for Jack, you never have to worry about energy again. So, alright, Tactician. I am surprised this class, with the cards it has, I'm surprised it's considered a support class. Because I think it's very close to Demolition. I think it's S tier. It's S tier for sure. The build I usually run, which I'm showing on screen right about now or something like that, is like one of the best builds in the whole entire game. Like, this is not a support class. This is like 3 different classes in one. This is an assault class when it comes to discipline. This is a tank class when it comes to resupply healing module. And this is a tank class when it comes to your resupply ability. The amount of damage and the amount of support and the amount of survivability this class has is just unreal. You don't even really need a locker for this class. Once you get your explosive perk all the way up, you don't need a locker, because most of the time you're just going to be using your explosives, getting that bleed damage with discipline, and recharging your ultimate back in like a few seconds, and then just using your ultimate again to get even more bleed damage going and killing just everything on the battlefield. Like, the Tactician is a very good class. A very good class for Horde 50 round. Especially if you run the interrogation card with the Demolition. Like, it's just, whew. Like, if the Demolition has spotter support and the Tactician has interrogation, the Demolition can just like nuke all the enemies on the map, and it's just it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. But yeah, the Tactician is a pretty good class, in my opinion. All right, Combat Medic. I would say Combat Medic is C tier. The Combat Medic is like the definition of a support class. I wish there was more cards to make this class better, so it would be like B tier or A tier. But where it stands right now in the game, or where it will forever stand rather, it's just a pretty meh and okay class. If your whole entire squad knows what you're doing, knows what they're doing and stuff, they don't really need your ultimate ability, because it's not going to be that many times where your team, where like everyone on your team goes down, or like more than 2 or 3 people go down your team once you guys get set up and everything. The medic might be good on like lower rounds like in the 20s or 30s. So once you get your base set up with like a mechanic or something like that, you're pretty set to go. And your team is going to be knowing what they're doing from there on out. The repair card that the Common Medic has, though, is pretty nice, especially if you don't have a Robotics Expert to repair the fortifications and a mechanic instead. Yeah, because the card repairs like 50% of the fortification, which is really, really nice. But yeah, the class is pretty good on some other game modes like Boss Rush and stuff, but we're only focusing on Horde 50 round on Master difficulty, so yeah. Alright, Protector. On Turbine, this class is pretty good. And that one little room in Turbine is pretty good. But on most maps, on most maps, I would say the Protector is... It's like the bottom of B tier. I'm not gonna lie. Most of these promotional classes are just gonna be like... okay. They're not gonna be the best classes. Alright, but getting back to the Protector though. The Protector and its drop shield. I wish you and your allies could shoot through the drop shield. Like if you're on the inside of the drop shield, I wish you can shoot through it. That would just make this class so much better. That would be so, oh my goodness. How I wish that was true. How I wish that was in the game right now. But nope. You can boom shot yourself inside of the drop shield and just kill yourself. But other than that though, the Protector has some decent survivability, not as good as the Blademaster I would say. It's like the Protector is like the Blademaster's little cousin or something like that wants to be like the Blademaster but isn't quite there. The Protector though has some pretty good damage. Some pretty good bleed damage and just some pretty good damage for the breaking race overall. But yeah, when it comes to like running around and stuff, all you really have is that regenerative stem card and your drop shield, I guess. But if you're in your drop shield, it doesn't move with you like the anger shield does, so you can't really run around. You just kind of sit there as all the enemies just stare at you like, sucker, you're not getting out of there alive. So, alright, moving on to the Striker. Oof, man, Striker. The Striker class is like the Protector's little cousin. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know I just made that joke like 5 seconds ago, but it feels like it, bro. However, though, the Striker does have the capability to just destroy any boss in the game in like 10 seconds max. Like, the Striker can kill any boss in the game. Swarmak, Matriarch, Warden, Carrier, Snatcher, Flock, Sentinel, Kestrel if it gets close enough. Or the Wakatsu. Like, the Striker can deal so much damage. It can deal probably more damage in a short burst than the Tactician or the Demolition could ever do. Like, that's how strong the Striker can be sometimes. But that's only that's only for bosses and stuff. When it comes to survivability and dealing with, like, just regular enemies, the Striker kind of lacks in those two categories. So I am going to put this in the bottom of C tier. Because the Striker doesn't have any forced healing capabilities like the Protector or the Blademaster does. The Striker only has that one card where it's like Bloody Stem or something like that. I forgot what it's called. Um, it only has that one stim card where if you hit an enemy, you get a bit of stim or health back. And usually that's not enough to keep you alive. You know, the Blademaster can go head to head with a Mulch Scion and survive. It can go head to head with a Boomshot Scion and survive. Go freaking head to head with a Warden and survive. Protector can't really do the same. Unless it has this drop shield, then okay, sure. Striker, you're not, no. You won't even make it to the Scion before you get freaking boomshotted and picked up and your head squished. I just wish this card had more survivability to it, and this card doesn't have that many other playstyles to it. It has very limited cards, and that's it only has one way to play the class. Now there are other weapons you can use, like the Scorcher Breaker Mace combo is one of the best combos for the Striker. But if you want to play a bit more long range, you can do the Torque Bow, you can do the Laser Grenade Launcher, or I think even the Boom Shot or the Drop Shot too. Any weapon that has a delay before it hits the enemy can be used on the Striker to get some fairly decent bleed damage off. But the Scorcher is like the best weapon to use on the Striker. You know, if this was boss rush we were talking about, I will put the Striker like up here in A, maybe even like at the bottom of S, because it can deal with those bosses in just mere seconds. The bosses that I can reach, that is. But since this is just Horde 50 round, put it right here in C tier. Alright, Slugger class. Slugger class is not a shotgun expert, despite what the class description says. It is actually a grenade expert, or it is a grenade specialist, rather. And it is going... It's going at the bottom of B tier. When it comes to planting your grenades at enemy spawn points and stuff, and killing all those like weaker enemies, the Slugger is pretty good at doing that. Especially on a map like Overload, where you just chuck grenades both sides on like both open pathways, whatever they're called, and you just absolutely obliterate the round and get like 25 kills in one round. But when it comes to more open maps and stuff like that, you're gonna need to travel to the enemy's spawn points to plant your grenades and stuff and get those kills. But the Slugger still has some pretty good power to it. It doesn't have that much survivability. It's probably on par with the Demolition class, but it is a fairly decent class. And it can stun enemies like the Matriarch, which can be really helpful. The Carrier, the Warden. It can't stun Snatchers or Kestrels, but it can also stun Wakatsus, which is also really nice. And Flocks too. Flocks are very annoying to deal with once they're moving around a lot. And just like these two classes, the Striker and the Protector, the Slugger only really has one way to play it, so it's not the absolute best. Alright, last one. I would say last but not least, but this is probably the least. The Architect class. Whew. I would say the Architect class is D tier. I wouldn't say it's E tier. I really want to put it here, but I'm going to give it a bit of grace and say it's D tier. The Architect class is this is like, compared to the Robotics Expert, this is like a newborn baby right here. Don't question my... Alright, never mind. Anyways, the Architect class is just... It's the worst mechanic class in the whole entire game. You would think it's Decoy, it can shoot out onto the battlefield will be good, but if you deal enough damage to the enemy, or rather, if anyone on your team deals enough damage to the enemies stop looking at the decoy and start shooting at you instead. So you're like, oh, well, isn't that great? My decoy, which is meant for grabbing the enemy's attention, no longer works. Oh, well, I guess me and my team were just, blah. I really do like playing this class. It's a very fun class of players. I want to get good use out of the Architect class, but it's just really hard to do that. Extremely and incredibly difficult to do that, because there's like I wish this class was better. I really do, because I believe that this is just the worst class in the game. It's just not good enough. I'm sorry, you're just not good enough. It's just not as good as the Robotics Expert or the Mechanic, especially when it comes to barriers and keeping your barriers repaired. Because the Architect, it doesn't have really healthy and bulky fortifications like the Mechanic does, and it doesn't have any type of card that lets you heal the barriers from a far distance or something like that. It's just you have to repair each barrier individually, unless you have like a Jack or a Robotics Expert or even a Mechanic to do the building for you. Well, the Jack will repair stuff, not really build. But anyways, yeah, this class is just not the best class. One, the card's Deception gives you 200% extra damage when flanking, which means when you're shooting an enemy from behind or from the side. The cards that I have equipped on this class are things like Deception, Hologram Extend, Hologram Duration, stuff like that. But whenever you're trying to build up your Hologram Duration using Hologram Extend, and you're using like a Lancer or a Claw, or just any automatic weapon, as soon as you deal enough damage to them, the enemies just turn around and shoot you instead. So what's the point of having the freaking decoy if the enemies are just gonna turn around and shoot you once you deal enough damage to them? There's no point in doing that. The only way to get good use out of that certain class setup is using a sniper rifle like the M-Bar or the long shot. But the thing is, there's no perk or even skill card to further benefit that damage, which it needs to be critical hit damage, because if you don't get a critical hit, oh, they're just going to turn around and shoot you. If it's the Boomshot Scion, he's just going to turn around regardless and just boomshot you. You can't even one-shot a Scion at full HP when it's turned around and not facing you. Once you shoot it like once or twice in the head, it turns around and it stays locked on you. So, I don't know. The Architect class is the class that I've played with the least, I believe. Maybe not. But unless I'm just missing some secret technique, there is the Architect. The Architect is just an extremely terrible class. It's fun to play with, and it's fun to use your decoy to get some good headshots in on like elite drones or grenadiers and stuff like that. But it's just not good enough. At the end of the day, the Architect class is just not good enough. Alright, well, that's all of the classes ranked. I think I'm going to be keeping the placement of most of these classes. I like where they stand. But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. This is a very different type of video. It was just me talking for probably 20 or 30 minutes. I'll try to keep this video as short as possible. Hopefully this isn't an hour long once I'm done editing it. And yeah. But again, shout out to Hall of Strife for kind of just giving me the idea to do this. Because like, bro, I'm gonna be a fanboy real quick, I'm not gonna lie. When I used to watch, I was like,
is this
like,
serious?
whenever your videos would come out, I would always watch them and like take notes, like, oh, yo, that's right. Yeah, no, okay, you can do that. Oh man, like I was always waiting for the next like Horde class video to come out. And like, I wish, like, honestly, like, can you go back to making Horde videos? Like, do more tips and tricks. Do escape ranked. I would love to see that. Like it's like, like, rank all the classes for escape mode or something like that. Or I might even do that. Who knows? But I would love to see more Gears content from you because I am personally a big fan. And about all 5 of my viewers for this video have clicked off the video at this point and are now watching some other more engaging YouTuber. This is just for you, man. It's, you know, we can like play a game of Horde one day and like we can like, okay, it's time to end the video. But yeah, like and subscribe, please. That sounds like I'm homeless on the street asking for do that. I just might be, who knows? You know, maybe I just got my computer set up on the street around Walmart. But yeah. Other than that though, I shall see you gamers later. Take care. I'm gonna cut all this out. I'm going to cut every single bit of this silence out. Okay, I can cut out as much as I want to. Like, that's like the power of editing. And no one will ever know that all of this was cut out to begin with. They'll just think, oh, he just did a little jump cut. No. No. Let's stay on topic. Okay. The demolition class is getting out. Dude, bro, what are you doing? Just what are you doing? You can't, like, are you not thinking properly? Like, bro, lock in, man. Lock in, please. You're at the end of the video. Just lock in. Okay? Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. So yeah. I'm gonna cut this out of the video. Oh yeah, I'm gonna cut this out of the video. What was I even saying? I don't know. I'm just thinking. Let your brother think, y'all. Let your brother think. Okay, bruh. If I leave this in the video, I'm actually never uploading again. What did I just say? Uploading? I don't, bro. I'm going to like. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do something. Okay, let's get back to the architect class. The Ooh, I can't speak. Ooh, I can't speak today. Okay, okay. I think, but most of the time when you're trying, like, let's say you're using like the Lancer, or let me rewind. Um, if you have deception, I have my just like, just yo, man is stuttering, bro. He is struggling. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Hold up. Let me keep it together real quick. Ugh. Okay. If you look at the come on, bro. What are you gonna say? Okay, look at this practice. If you look at the skill cards I have on, there you go. Okay, here we go. Here we go. If you look at the skill cards or my shoot, shoot. Dang it, dude. Okay, hold on. Okay, okay. Like the deck, is it called a deck? Okay, just if you look at the cards that I'm running. Yes, okay. If you, the cards I have equipped. Yes, use equipped. Okay, okay. Here we go. Because you can't even one tap a full Scion at full HP. Wait, it's it's fun to play. It's